Hello and welcome to our tutorial. Today we're going to talk about making a bookcast using various applications on the Mac computer. I'm going to start with one called Sound Studio, and you can either find it on your dock, or if you can't find it on your dock, you can always search for it in your Finder. It's not in my dock, so I'll go to the Finder and look under Applications. I could also look here in the search bar and type that in to find it, but I'm going to go to Applications since I know it's there. Here's Sound Studio. And this is the type of thing that will pop up for you. You may get this input level, which is a good way of looking to see what level you have, and you can adjust your playback volume here how you like it. So I'm going to record out of a book called The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton. I like it because it has some types of language that you can put sound effects to, or music. Here I go. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. She watched the harvest gathered and the apples picked. She watched the children going back to school. In the winter, when the nights were long and the days short and the countryside covered with snow, she watched the children coasting and skating. Year followed year. The apple trees grew old and new ones were planted. The children grew up and went away to the city, and now at night the lights of the city seem brighter and closer. Now I'll push stop to finish. And as you can see, here is the sound, and I'll play it back a little bit of it. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched. Once I've got that done, what I want to do is take this and put it on my desktop so I can put it into GarageBand and add things to it. To do that, I want to go to Export with QuickTime right here. And I don't need to follow any of these things. I'm going to call it Little House. And instead of putting it in Documents, I'm going to put it on the desktop so I can see it. And as you can see, it's over here. I'm finished with Sound Studio now, so I'll close it. And then I'll go to GarageBand and open that up. Now this GarageBand I have on here is slightly different than the one you may have on your laptop, but the area we'll go to will show you the same as what you need to see. The idea is we're going to take our Little House recording here and put it into GarageBand under one of the spots here. So we'll need a new one. And I'll call it Little House. Saving on the desktop allows me to see it a little bit faster. Close this keyboard. And then I'll take my Little House here and drag that right up into the first track. If you want to hear it, you can just simply push here. In the fall, when the days grew short, by using this button here, I can put it back to where I want. Now, you'll probably find what you need down in this area here. It looks like an eye and allows me to use all the different tracks and loops that I want to use. So when I open it, I want to go to this one here. It's to do with the sound effects. And when I open it, you'll see all the different things I can use here. So I will go to sound effects first. And I'm thinking about what I've put down for my track for my vocals. And I think I will try and use some stuff to do with, what would you say here? No. And I'll take this one. Whenever you find a track, you can just listen to it by clicking on it. Or you can take it and drag it up here and put it wherever you like. Okay, I can move it around to different parts. And I can also lengthen it by putting my pointer right on the very end. corner and dragging it like this to make it longer. It's a bit of trial and error, so you can try it and see what it sounds like to you when you play. In the fall, when the days grew shorter, and what you can also do is adjust the sound level here so that it's either softer than the spoken voice or louder. Usually having your voice louder is going to help put the effects in the background. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost. I can also add some other things. Okay, try some of these. You can see the length is over here as well. That sometimes will help you with if the track is too long. Well, this one's okay. You can shorten it again by putting this in the corner and doing it. So this is what we have now. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. She watched the harvest gathered and the apples picked. She watched the children going back to school. I'll make this one shorter because I don't like how it goes over and over, so just at the beginning, and I'll move it into the middle. Okay, once you're happy with it, and this is what takes a little while until you're satisfied with it, when it's ready to go, you can share it by going up here and exporting the song to iTunes. Okay, before I'm going to do that though, I'm going to make sure my iTunes can use it. So I'm going to leave it how it is and open my iTunes. Usually iTunes is in the dock here, but sometimes it isn't. And if it isn't, you can also find it using Finder again. The iTunes will take a minute to load, and what I'm trying to do is go to my iTunes and look to see if it's going to allow me to go in there. So under Preferences, I'm going to go here to Import Settings under General and click on it to make sure that it's in the MP3 encoder. This is a common file type to make sure that you can share or at least encode your things the way that's most useful. Once it says that right there, I'll click OK. And now my job is to send what I've made from GarageBand to iTunes. So I go to Share here on GarageBand and send the song to iTunes. All this information shows me that it's going the right way and what it's called, and then I can just click Share here. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. Here it is down here, and what I'm going to do is take this now that I have it here and use it onto my next application, which is down here. I'm looking for one called iMovie HD. It works in the other iMovie applications as well. I just have used this one before. So I'm going to open this. And start a new one. Sometimes it pops up older ones that you've had before. This is a different one here, so I'm going to go to New Project. And call it Little House, just like all the other ones I've called. It's in the MP4, MPEG 4, which is good.